You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Welcome to another edition of Corporate Events. I'm your host, Amita Prasad Webb. Today we bring you the SEBI closeout event right here at the Venetian at the Terra Nova Hotel. Please stay tuned for highlights.
We're celebrating 6 years of sector development and social enterprise excellence led by the joint USAID and JN Foundation initiative, SEBI. With our sector founders, champions, stakeholders, bi-social consumers, and social enterprise practitioners. Take this journey with us from 2012 to 2018 to see how the triple bottom line of people, purpose, and profit approach to business is changing the face of entrepreneurship and social development in Jamaica, one community at a time.
The JN Foundation made a very conscious decision to address a specific problem within the social sector, which is the inability of social organizations to effectively deliver their core services. After years of seeing social interventions discontinue due to a lack of funding and understanding the changing global landscape in which grants and donations are being reduced to this region, former General Manager Safri Brown designed the Social Enterprise Boost Initiative. In 2012, the JN Foundation partnered with USAID to introduce and formalize the social enterprise model. SEBI's goal was to assist organizations operating within the social sector to become income generating and self-sustaining, whilst addressing social, environmental, cultural challenges. SEBI proved that social enterprises can become viable businesses through targeted support services such as capacity development training, mentorship. A number of our enterprises were assigned mentors, equipment support, and networking to some 35 social enterprises in business incubator and accelerator programs. The enterprises over the period of SEBI were able to generate over $186 million and employ on a part-time and full-time basis over 500 persons. They introduced innovative products to the market, and some experienced phenomenal growth over a relatively short period of time. The impact of SEBI also reached over 100 additional social organizations that participated in the open network activities. Among our outcomes were inclusion of persons living with disabilities. At least 20% of social enterprises in the SEBI incubator and accelerator programs were either owned or operated by persons living with a disability. The partnership between JN Foundation and USAID has created what is now an emerging social enterprise sector. There is enthusiasm about using business as a force for good, which has been at the foundation and the heart of the JN brand. The Social Enterprise Boost Initiative, which was a partnership between Jamaica National Foundation and USAID, has ended today. For us, we are very proud of the pioneering work that we have done in terms of introducing this new form of business model to social organizations where they can move towards become more self-sufficient. Today, we really recognize the enterprises that stuck through the program, the enterprises that made significant improvements. Enterprises like DEFCON, Educators, Inspire 365, Brescia, Bunkers Hill. The JN Foundation has really always done things differently, not afraid to take on new areas, new ideas, and SEBI, Social Enterprise, was another testament to the kind of innovative work that the foundation does.
So talk to us about SEBI, how it came about, and what was happening at the time for it to, or why people felt that it needed to come about.
The reason that we designed SEBI was as a response to these kind of ongoing needs of organizations across Jamaica for funding. And JN Foundation had tested the social enterprise model through the source in 2007, done a number of them across the country, and were able to show that social enterprises were a real tool for community development, and then responded to these organizations that needed funding, that we couldn't provide enough funding. We just didn't have enough money to constantly be able to say yes. And instead of just sort of being sitting ducks and responding with no's, we can't help you, we decided to develop SEBI as a real tool for organizations to figure out a different way to become sustainable. We saw this as a growing risk and a growing threat for the voluntary sector in Jamaica. And so SEBI was as a direct response to that threat to make sure that we provided a different opportunity for organizations before they sort of ran out of steam, ran out of funding, and closed their doors. And so this is what we had in mind when we designed SEBI. We applied under the Development Grant Program 3 with USAID and started the project in 2012.
7 years later, we're now at your closeout event, which is a big deal. What are your thoughts and personal feelings?
I mean, you know, SEBI has been extraordinary. From where we started with the source back in 2007, I remember everybody looking at me and somebody telling me you're talking mumbo jumbo when I said something about social enterprise, to today where everybody understands and knows what that is. And that, you know, there's so many different organizations in the space now, which is really exciting. And so for me, it's really just about, you know, very proud to have created this framework where organizations can choose what they want for themselves, but there is an avenue for that. And yeah, just really proud of the accomplishments of the team. We had a great project manager in phase 1, Jennifer Sharia, and Opal White in phase 2 really took the project to the next level. And so we're really, really proud of them. And then we couldn't have done this without USAID and their contribution over the years.
And that was the first segment of the SEBI closeout event. I hope you still be here when we get back from break. We have more. Please stay tuned.
Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Welcome back to the SEBI closeout event right here at the Terra Nova Hotel. We go straight to stage.
Over the last 2 years, this social enterprise has grown their employee base by 10 times, added 11 more outlets to their distribution channels, and increased their annual revenue, as you heard before, from $4 million to $13 million. So help me welcome Social Enterprise SOCENT 28 awardee for growth, Team Def Can. Come on up. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the SOCENT 2018 awardee for innovation, Educators JA. And the SOCENT Award for Inclusion, Superior Craft, and more. And next, the SOCENT Award 2018 for Rural Generation. Next Step Lifelong Educational Services. The SOCENT 2018 Media Champion, Ralston Hyman. Thank you so much, Ralston. Come on up. And the SOCENT 2018 Public Sector Champion, Charmaine Brim of the Planning Institute of Jamaica. Thank you for your passion. The SOCENT 2018 Private Sector Champion, That one goes to the Jamaica Stock Exchange. We're going to be handing out some certificates to all the participants of SEBI. We call them our pioneers. Give everybody a really huge round of applause. Your contribution to this sector is going to go far and wide.
We're here at the SOCENT Awards 2018. You're an awardee today. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, it's very encouraging, affirming. We were awarded for growth, and at the end of the day, that's what we're about. We want to continue to grow our impact in the deaf community in Jamaica. And so 2 years ago when we started the SEBI program, we had 2 employees. Right. And now fast forward 2 years later, we have 14 full-time employees of 10 to 12 other youth that are engaged in part-time work and transitioning into full-time work when we have more opportunities for them. So being able to grow from 2 to 14 in 2 years has been an incredible achievement, a lot of hard work by our team, and is encouraging for us just to receive that award and have our youth be able to go up on stage and receive that award.
Yeah. It's a big deal and congratulations. In regards to DEFCAN being a part of SEBI, how exactly did they help move your business along?
I mean, before we were involved in the SEBI program, we didn't really understand what social enterprise was all about. Gotcha. We didn't understand it as a sector. We did not start DEFCAN Coffee with the goal of being a social enterprise. It was really just a reaction to the issues that we saw where our youth felt very much like they can't. Like, oh, I'm deaf, poor me, I can't. And it's like, no, you can. So it was mostly about reaching into the community and getting our youth to believe in themselves. But then as their confidence grew and we got involved in the SEBI network, got opportunities to do more events, started building partnerships, and our staff were working at other cafes and coffee shops in different locations, their confidence grew, and then the rest of society started recognizing them over and over and over again too. And so we realized this is actually a message beyond just the deaf community, because DEFCAN started strictly to encourage our youth to believe that they can, but now they're getting the Prime Minister's Youth Award for Social Enterprise. They're getting Social Enterprise Awards here at this event. So as they get more recognition, other people are starting to realize, oh, DEFCAN. And so now we have even bigger sights set on just changing how people view the deaf community as a whole. So DEFCAN, you're growing. What's next? Next for us is continued growth through partnerships. We have existing partnerships already in Kingston, in Portmore, in St. Elizabeth, and Montego Bay. And so if there is a company out there and all you want to do is serve good coffee, but you don't know where to start, you don't know what to do, there's not baristas in Jamaica readily available, come to us. We'll work with you, we'll develop solutions, and we'll provide a staff member that's trained already as a barista and help you serve the needs that you have with your customers.
I extend on behalf of the JN Foundation our gratitude to the USAID for partnering with us on this project, and commend the SEBI and the JN Foundation teams for the seminal work that they have accomplished during the past 6 years to make this project a success. As Jamaicans, we can all play our part to help our social enterprises to excel in their businesses. That's what Buy Social campaign is all about. With all our financial support, these entities cannot thrive. When they succeed, Jamaica succeeds. Well, Jane, history. Start from helping the poor and people with problems. That's our history. And unlike giving handouts and charity, JN Foundation really felt that we want to be able to help those in communities who can't help themselves, to be able to empower them to be able to help themselves going forward. We were very lucky to be able to have a partner in the USAID who saw and captured what we're trying to do is in terms of community development and also nation building. What it started in few areas, now it's nationwide. And you can see that we have hundreds of small groups who are now able to help themselves and to be able to turn a profit and be able to make useful lives for themselves. The relationship or the program with USAID has just come to a close. So the foundation is moving it or changing it from SEBI to SEJA. So this will continue. We will work with other groups in helping communities to grow and using the same model since it has worked, and we're sure that it will continue to do that. So we're very happy in what we have seen, and you've seen the numbers of people that are turning out, with people turning hobbies into business, but also having social conscience or environmental importance, while at the same time making enough revenue to make the business sustainable. And that is what the difference in terms of from a social charity to social enterprise business.
Corporate restructuring services. In today's evolving commercial and economic environment, businesses are continually seeking opportunities to manage operating costs and tax positions, as well as contain cash expenditures. Entity structuring can help achieve these goals, but often presents many challenges for multinational corporations. In addition, the OECD's Base Erosion and Profit Shifting (BEPS) proposals are expected to impact the bottom line of affected organizations and result in some business restructuring. Crow Jamaica delivers an integrated approach to clients' corporate and reorganization needs. Services include simplifying group structures, executing domestic and cross-border transactions including mergers, demergers, disposals, and company migrations, transferring assets and business units, aligning legal structures to business models, establishing national or regional hubs, converting subsidiary company structures to branch structures and vice versa, integrating legal structures following a merger or acquisition, providing practical advice and assistance throughout the planning, development, and implementation phases of corporate reorganizations. Crow Jamaica assists businesses and other advisors in developing and implementing efficient, cost-effective legal structures and business operating models. Our team can help you make smarter, more effective decisions. Let's have a conversation. Contact us at email people@crowjm.com. Website www.crowjm.com.
You are an awardee here today. Congratulations. Tell me a little bit about your business.
So next step is a social enterprise that's focused on youth engagement and employment. So we offer services such as coaching, training, speaking, and tutoring in the parish of St. Thomas and also anywhere in Jamaica or the region.
You were an awardee here for rural regeneration. Talk to us about that.
So we operate in rural Jamaica in the parish of St. Thomas, which is often underscored as a parish that is behind. So we have positioned ourselves as a social enterprise to be a part of the mission, to be a part of the change. And that started from my personal story where I had issues of self-worth growing up in a rural parish where there are so many rural stereotypes. And I looked around me and realized that the young people were equally affected just as I was. They were not delivering themselves as they should in terms of self-delivery and self-awareness. I wanted to make a change. It started a social enterprise that's really doing a great job. We partner with Heart Trust NTA, with the British Council, with various organizations that have similar mission to truly make a change while making profit.
It's basically the end of SEBI. This is their closeout event. What are your thoughts on that and I guess your feelings?
Well, SEBI has been a phenomenal support to our brand. So in terms of our brand presence and positioning from our look and our feel, we have gotten a lot of support. And they're also big on making sure that your capacity is built to match that powerful branding that we have at the front. So we had business mentorship. We were able to put in some systems that we did not have before. We actually know what the triple bottom line really means in terms of people, passion, profit. So we're taking care of our staff better, having the systems in place to make sure that inside and out that we are a powerful brand. That's the biggest thing that we have gotten from SEBI, and we're really looking forward to Social Enterprise JA. We're now well positioned to benefit from some of the support that will now come from the Social Stock Exchange and other movements that are taking place to strengthen the social enterprise movement in Jamaica.
But what's next for next step?
Well, for next step, we're looking at actually scaling up. Our services are now well packaged. So we have Ready Set Go coaching program, we have a Prep for PEP mobile clinic, and we have the CCC training package, which looks at communication and other 21st century skills. So that is now nicely and tightly packaged, something that we didn't have before. So now we're pushing it. We're getting more support from corporate brands who are now booking us for services. We have had just a few international engagements, but with now the branding and the presence that we have with SEBI, we are sure that a lot more regional and international engagements are coming.
Talk to us a little bit about Educators JA. What exactly it is that you guys do?
Well, Educators is an edtech and adventure tour company. We in essence make learning fun by providing people with experiential learning and gamified field trips that are powered by technology. So we are combining exploration with things like playing, technology, exercise, things like that. Yeah.
You are the SOCENT Award winner today for innovation. Talk to us about that.
So I think, as I said, because we combine exploring with the technology, it's not a virtual experience. It's more of people going outside, learning about their country. People are involved at the same time, but the phone is really what's different. Using your phone as a tool. We have an app called Adventures. So people can download this in the App Store. It's not available on iPhones as yet, but the app, in essence, allows you to explore, learn, and have fun.
Talk to us about Educators Jamaica and your involvement with SEBI and how you've grown by being a part of SEBI.
So apart from us making learning fun and giving people tours, our tours, we have a clear social mission, which is not only to educate youth, but to include them. Inclusion means giving tours to students or young people that wouldn't necessarily get a tour. Somebody who's homeless, somebody who's deaf, so we include them. We also employ them. So we have them as creative writers and tour guides. These are youngsters that we train and recruit ourselves, giving them skills that they can use elsewhere or with us. And SEBI is really the organization that discovered the social impact that we are having through our tours. They were the ones who molded us into a social enterprise.
It's their final, their closeout event. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm just happy to be here with people who we consider to be family at this point. We've grown with them. And I'm looking forward to what SAGA will do for not just Jamaica, but the region. I'm looking forward to seeing more people become aware of what a social enterprise is, more people coming into the space, but with innovative ideas, fun ideas, things that they would consider to be their talent and so forth. I'm just looking forward to more people making social impact through business. So it's purpose plus profit. That's what I'm looking forward to.
We are back with another exciting, innovative and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well lock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
So we have with us Miss Charmaine Brim of the PIOJ, who is the Public Sector Champion Award right here at the SEBI Awards. Talk to us about that. What is your involvement with SEBI?
JN Foundation actually engaged the PIOJ in 2015 around the premise of the work that they have been doing for the social sector and sharing with us some of the gaps that were in the sector. And one of them was the fact that there was no policy framework to support the sector. So we were actually successful in lobbying the Ministry of Industry, who, on the request of the Bank of Jamaica at the time, who wanted a limited review of the MSME and entrepreneurship policy, the PIOJ lobbied MICAF to have some consideration to include discussions around the social enterprise sector. And resulting from that, a new chapter was developed called the Social Value Creation. That's now added to the policy. So that's the big championing of the PIOJ in one way. And the other is that from a programmatic standpoint, the Community Renewal Program is a program within the PIOJ. And the primary goal of that program is to coordinate initiatives towards effective program delivery at the community level, and we target the volatile and vulnerable communities across 5 parishes. One of the key pillars under the Community Renewal Program is socio-economic development. And that includes looking at the strategy that deals with promoting entrepreneurship. So in the context of promoting entrepreneurship and looking for good business models that can advance sustainable development at the community level, then the social enterprise model was a good one for us as well. So it is a model that we have actually adopted, and we have found that the model is a good one. It's a high growth model, and the idea is to continue what SEBI has started. We're going to be very much involved in the conversations with JN Foundation regarding SEJA as well. As you would have heard today, it is intended to be a multi-sectoral approach, right, kind of entity. So the conversation and the work continues.
PSTO Mobility Center is a social enterprise boost initiative that caters for persons with disability, preferably persons with physical disability who use mobility aid products. So we are here to solve that problem for persons with disability.
Talk to us about your involvement with SEBI.
So as an organization, we as established as an organization, and then we see the needs of the disabled community not able to fit in society because of these challenges that comes with the wearing of the chairs or the crutches or the cane, whatever mobility needs there are. And so as an organization who advocate for persons with disability, we ensure that we represent them to the fullest. And so out of that, the Mobility Center was started. And then when SEBI came on board, of course, that was our opportunity to make ourselves visible and to be seen into what we do. So SEBI came with a lot of opportunity for us. It provided us with the skills we need. It provided with some of the tools and equipment that we need, and the retraining areas that we had underlooked or overlooked. So we're happy for the partnership with SEBI. As you know, jobs are hard to get, and can you just imagine for someone with a disability unemployed? May have the skill, but access and other things may deter these business persons to employers. So here we are now with SEBI, creating employment and training for our members. That it's a huge benefit within the disabled community when we can recognize our need and solve our needs. Disability is a state of mind. It's not a death sentence, it's a life sentence. So you live with your disability, you don't die with it. That's what I want to tell them. So this is an opportunity for them to get up and accept themselves as a person with a disability. Because you are a person first. I want you to know you are a person. There are responsibility that comes with being a person. So you're going to live to your fullest. That's my advice.
A special thank you for tuning in to our coverage of the SEBI Closeout event. And thank you to the JN Foundation, the SEBI Group, and all the awardees today. I've been your host, Amita Prasadweb, and thank you for watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
I'm Adam Stewart. This is Business Access TV, serious about business.
It's the official start of a new school year. Whether you're starting at the infant, primary, secondary, or tertiary level, we here at the JIS wish you a productive year. Remember, your attitude determines your altitude, so be sure to have an open mind to receive your lessons. Study without procrastination, and most of all, don't be too hard on yourself. School is an environment of triumphs, trials, and errors, so just stick to it, and you will achieve your goals. All the best.
Stand up and get in the race.
I can become the master of my destiny.
Step up your stride, make we work like a harder. Do it like Veronica, Bolt and a Sapa.
We can rise above the challenges and shine.
Was with passion in your heart. Make a plan and stop all the idling. You think that's so? We reach a the edging. I can, you can. Like our Olympians, every Jamaican can.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Monday, September 2. Prime Minister Andrew Holness broke ground on Friday for 110 single-story, two-bedroom duplex units at the Twickenham Glades housing development in St. Catherine. The $1.4 billion project, which is to be completed in 16 months, is Phase 4 of the National Housing Trust Twickenham Park housing development.
This will include civil infrastructure such as roadways, a stormwater drainage system, a potable water distribution network, sewerage system, and a boundary wall with restricted access and a guardhouse. There will be areas earmarked for open space and other such amenities, including multi-purpose courts, a community center, and all of this is done to foster a closely knit community.
Twickenham Glades will add to the over 4,000 housing solutions that have been developed and delivered in St. Catherine since 2017. Among the other projects to come on stream is 602 solutions in Colbeck Castle. The Health and Wellness Ministry will be launching its pre-exposure prophylaxis PrEP pilot program before the end of the year as part of efforts to tackle HIV infections. Acting Director of Health Promotion and Protection in the ministry, Dr. Simone Spence, says the aim is to reduce new cases of the human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, to zero.
In terms of our pilot program for PrEP, we're in the preparatory stages of that, looking at determining criteria in terms of which patients would be most suited to participate, and then do a pilot to roll that out later this year before we make a definitive decision on how it is logistically we roll out the PrEP program.
Dr. Spence was speaking at the ministry's recent quarterly press conference. PrEP is a pill that is designed to be taken by HIV-negative individuals to prevent contraction of the virus. According to Dr. Spence, persons who take PrEP daily are said to reduce their risk of getting HIV from sex by more than 90%. Initial funding for the PrEP pilot program is being provided by the government, which is also financing the antiretroviral medications that are provided to persons living with HIV. Meanwhile, a 24-hour toll-free helpline will soon be launched by the Ministry of Health and Wellness for persons living with mental illnesses and those affected by the condition. Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says a private branch exchange, PBX Network, has already been purchased to establish the helpline, which will be able to accept multiple calls at the same time. 5 psychologists will be employed to man the new system.
The study that we commissioned, the Mental Illness and Homelessness Task Force, suggests that 4 of every 10 Jamaicans at some point in their lives will be affected by some sort of mental instability. We are very sensitive to the issue, and we have deployed, having done the report, resources to address a number of areas around mental illness.
Dr. Tufton was speaking recently at his ministry's quarterly press conference. He said mental health professionals were being trained to increase the level of care needed by persons who will access the helpline. Already 30 professionals have been trained to provide on-site response with police officers, firemen, and mental health team members. Private medical practitioners are also to form part of the network of responders at the parish level.
In addition to that, logistic support will be provided through the acquisition of some 14 buses, mental health buses, vehicles that are dedicated to mental health at the parish level.
The helpline will be promoted ahead of the launch, and a public education campaign will be rolled out to address stigmatization. Results of the primary exit profile PEP for students in grades 4 and 5 will be made available in the coming weeks. Minister with Oversight for the Education Ministry, Carl Samuda, gave the update during his ministry's recently held back-to-school press conference.
Grade 5 will be released on Friday, September the 13th, 2019, and Grade 4 will be released on Friday, October the 4th, 2019. The detailed support report will provide comprehensive information on students' achievements of specific subcategories in all subjects: mathematics, science, social studies, and language arts.
The primary exit profile is the series of tests being administered from grade 4 to 6. It replaces GSAT as the National Secondary School Entrance Examination and is intended to provide a more comprehensive assessment of students' academic and critical thinking capabilities at the end of their primary level education. And finally, the nation was hit on Sunday with news of the death of 2 icons of Jamaica, Dr. Ken Baugh and Samir Yunus. Both men have been ailing for some time. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has hailed Dr. Ken Baugh as a statesman and a true gentleman of politics. He says Dr. Baugh exemplified dignity and integrity throughout his public life. During his political career, Dr. Baugh served as Minister of Health, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, and Deputy Prime Minister, as well as General Secretary and Chairman of the Jamaica Labour Party. He also served as a Senator and a Member of Parliament for Northwest St. James and then West Central St. Catherine until his retirement in 2016. Leader of the opposition, Dr. Peter Phillips, says Dr. Baugh gave many years of faithful service to the country as a surgeon and also in politics and ministerial service. In paying tribute, he remarked that the nation has lost a true and dedicated son. As for Samir Yunus, he was recognized by both leaders as a nation builder. Prime Minister Andrew Holness called Yunus one of our great developers of industry. Dr. Phillips praised him for his dedication to public service. Samir Yunus served as president of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce from 1986 to 1991 and as president of the Jamaica Manufacturers Association from 1996 to 2000. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Jamaicans, drivers, passengers, motorcyclists, and pedestrians, slow down. Observe the rules of the road. Be courteous. Drive defensively. Be considerate. Buckle up. Wear a helmet. The careless overtaker is only rushing to the undertaker. Not observing the rules of the road could cost you your life and that of your loved ones. I encourage all road users to take special care as we use public thoroughfares. The life you save may be your own. Remember, your family wants you to arrive alive.
It's back to school for most, and with it comes increased traffic on the roads. Though it can be difficult to readjust to the early morning routine, we don't want you to forget these simple road courtesies.
Pedestrians, it is only safe to cross this designated part of the road if you follow the road rules. Never attempt to cross before the indication is given, and do not try to beat the oncoming traffic which has the green light.
You have overhead bridges, and overhead bridges are safe areas that are provided for pedestrians to cross. What we are seeing are pedestrians dashing across dual carriageways and then leaping over concrete medians. That is a no-no. We have had persons who have lost their lives doing that. And I am now appealing to pedestrians to do the right thing and access the overhead bridges that are provided in order to save your own life.
Where there is no overhead bridge or crossing sign, use the pedestrian crossing with caution. Monitor the lights and cross when it's safe to do so. That is a dangerous practice and a 99.9% chance of this happening.
The amount of kinetic energy that comes on your body, that is going to determine whether or not you survive.
There are several signs. Road signs are the language of the road. You have informational signs, directional signs, warning signs, and you have enforcement signs. Enforcement signs are erected upright or those that are drawn on the road surface. For example, you have stop sign, one-way sign, and it points in the direction where the one-way is. No U-turn, no parking, no right turn, no entry, a number of signs. If there's no sign that are erected upright, you will see yellow markings painted on curb walls. That constitute no parking, and you should not park in those areas. You park where white painting is drawn on those curb walls. Those are areas where parking is permitted. You have continuous white lines that are drawn on road surface. No motorist should drive to the right of a continuous white line. There are some other signs, especially like along Knutsford Boulevard, where the dual carriageway is, but there is any elevated median. You see something looking like a zebra crossing. Those crossing depicts a median, but a median that is not elevated. If you disobey a stop sign, it carries a fine of $4,000 or 6 demerit points. If you disobey the traffic light, the red light, that too carries $4,000 a fine or 6 demerit points. On the approach of a traffic light, for example, Halfway Tree Road, Chelsea Avenue, by JIS there is no filter light. You are to obey the light, and whenever you get green, you are to proceed. These lights are so configured that they allow for a pedestrian to cross. So when that red light is on, pedestrians are crossing. So that's why a filter light is not put in. When approaching a roundabout, you are to yield to the person to the right, right? Always allow for that person to go first. A similar thing with a yield sign, a give way sign. You are to yield to the person and allow that person to proceed. If you happen to overtake, you are to do so if the way is clear, and once you complete that maneuver, you are to get back to the left lane and remain there. We have persons anticipating the light. You have those that are anticipating the green, and even before the green comes on, they are off. And you have others who are beating the amber in order to go by as well. And I should tell you this, red means you are to stop, amber means you are to prepare to stop. and green means you are to go if the way is clear.
And remember, always wear your seatbelt.
Be an active participant in your child's life. Spend time with your child. No phones, no television, no distractions. Just the two of you. Get to know your child through play. Why not go to the park and get on the monkey bars? Sharing a meal can also be a time of bonding. If your child's in school, be involved in school activities. Speak with your child's teacher. Follow up on their progress in school and see how you can help. Assist them with homework. Attend parent-teacher meetings and support school fundraising events. Remember, your child's future is in your hands. Safeguard it.
So glad you are a child of mine.
Anna, why you knocking down my door? What is it?
Jackie, I don't know what to do. From Jason dead, I have nothing to give to the children, and I don't know where to turn.
So why you didn't go down to the Administrator General's department, the place I told you about the other day?
Lord Jackie, I know you try to help me, you know, but remember say me and Jason never did marry, you know.
What do you mean by that, Anna? The law say if a single man and a single woman live together as husband and wife for 5 years and more immediately before death, then he or she is considered a spouse.
Really? That mean me can't get something then? Cause boy, it rough, you know.
Yes, man, just go down there, tell them about the case, that Jason died, leaving no will, house and children under 18 years. Go down there and see what them can do for you.
A true you're talking, Jackie. Where you say the place there again?
Down a waterfront, man. 12 Ocean Boulevard. Go down there, talk to them, and see if them can help you.
Okay, I'm going down there right now.
Good morning, madam. How are you?
Good morning, miss. I hear that the Administrator General's department can help me. You see, my children, them father died, leaving me with the two pitting them, and I'm me alone I care for them.
Did he leave a will?
Will, ma'am. After Jason never ready for dead, how come him come from work and drop down dead? My friend tell me say under the law I'm considered a spouse. By the way, who is a spouse?
Under the Interstates, Estates and Property Charges Act, a spouse is a single man and woman living together as husband and wife for 5 years or more. By living together, the two persons should not have been separated at any time during the 5 years immediately before death. A surviving spouse includes a person who is legally married. That is, he or she went in front of a pastor and took the vow of marriage. If Anna meets the requirements, she can hire an attorney at law or go to the legal aid clinic to apply for an order from the court declaring that she's a spouse. Some of the questions the court will look at are: did Anna and Jason break up during the 5 years? Did Jason have any children born in the same year as Anna's children? The court will also want to know if Anna or Jason were married before and not divorced. Once the order has been granted, the spouse would be entitled to benefit from the estate of the deceased. For further information, you can visit the Administrator General's Department in Kingston, 3rd floor at the Office Center Building, 12 Ocean Boulevard, or call us at 922-183023. You can also visit our Western office at the 2nd floor of the National Housing Trust Building at 42B Union Street, Montego Bay, St. James. Telephone 630-4261. Our website is at www.agd.gov.jm. That's the Administrator General's Department, securing your legacy.
Water is precious. So we encourage everyone to practice the 4 R's of water conservation. Always remember to reduce your use of water wherever possible. Replace water wasting devices with water savings devices. Reuse water wherever possible. And wherever leaks are found, please repair them and repair them quickly.
Don't delay. Practice the 4 R's of water conservation today.
The government has earmarked a day in December for the completion of the draft National Spatial Plan. How will this benefit us? Minister Darrell Vaz explains.
The National Spatial Plan will ensure the optimal use of the nation's land and marine resources and outline the framework for their effective use and management. The plan will therefore provide a strategic spatial framework to guide national development and investment decision-making. The NSP will address the major challenges of disaster risk reduction and climate change response while protecting the environment, improving natural resource management, and enhancing the quality of the built environment. The plan will identify priorities for the spatial planning and development of human settlements, commercial and industrial developments, and improvement of infrastructure for public utilities and social amenities. This NSP is intended to go beyond being a paper document and will be supported by a national spatial planning information technology platform. The NSPIT platform will be accessible to the general public and aims to ultimately provide all the spatial planning database and information to support online application and processing of development applications. All the ministries, agencies, and departments involved in the development processes will therefore benefit from a state-of-the-art and dynamic IT-supported spatial plan.
There's a sort of purposeful selection of the sequence in these human movements. The symbolic significance of hands massaging the air and feet beating to the vibrations of songs. They're focused, energized, ready, and raring to go. If you think about it, they are just like you and I. Well, of course, that's if you can dance. But one thing might be different.
I've been there for 23 years, and I've been dancing for 10 years. I've been there for 21 years, and I've been dancing for 14 years. So I've been hard of hearing ever since I was born until now. And I've been dancing for 16 years.
Yes, persons like Christoph, Kimberly, and Damani dance. And despite nature's act of removing a seemingly valuable aspect of their senses, these three are pursuing a certificate in dance at the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts, but not without some challenges.
Well, my experience here, at first, when the three of us just arrived, we were a bit awkward in terms of communicating, but then we were able to learn from each other, learning from the hearing students, and we were able to. We had issues as well with the rhythm, keeping up with the rhythm at all times, but then we were eventually able to catch up and we started to improve gradually. So for me, my main issue is timing. So I try to work along closely with the other students in the class and the teacher as well, and then eventually I'm able to catch up with the timing in terms of the music. So my challenge during class, it's really to ensure that my body is moving with the timing and the music.
Deaf dancers do move on the beat and in one accord with the rhythm. But the surprising element in this for most persons is just how are they able to, or even why did they choose dance?
I hear a little of the music and I can feel the vibration on the floor as well. So it's not that bad for me. So I use that method throughout.
With his sense of touch heightened through his loss of hearing, Damani can interpret the music through the vibrations he feels. Deaf dancers are visual learners, so for them, their instructors sign the moves or the counts. While other dancers are busy remembering the details of the moves, those like Damani, Kimberly, and Christoph are counting, keeping time, and watching keenly what their hearing peers are doing so they can interpret the steps.
So I chose to study dancing because dancing is my life. It's my passion ever since. So I want to learn more and more about dancing. I don't want to give up. I don't want to stop. I want to continue. Because my goal is to become a dancer in the future. So when I'm finished at Endemani College, I want to become a dancer and I want to perform around the world. So my goal is to become a dance teacher so that I can empower younger deaf children who really love dancing and empower them so that they can, be as good as I am. It's their turn.
But for acting dean at the School of Dance, being deaf is not the biggest obstacle for becoming a great dancer.
I don't want to describe what we have as challenges. I want to describe them as opportunities to learn. What fundamental to dance is the ability to demonstrate and for the dancer to use their eyes and observe and learn the experience in a visual way and then demonstrate what it is that they have been taught. I think one of the interesting things about the deaf students is that their other senses are heightened. And so they're able to access the information in other ways and quite differently from the hearing students. So it's very interesting to see the learning dynamics, but the end result and the objective or the learning outcome of the experience are still achieved. And we're very happy about that because ultimately we want them to succeed.
And while for the school it is the first time opening its gates to persons like Christoph, Kimberly, and Damani to study dance,
they're eager to receive the information and we're inspired by this drive to learn and to succeed. So even though we have an interpreter, the interpreter is also learning from the experience because we have interpreters who have never been in a school environment like this where dance is concerned. So they're also learning new language. It somehow feels as though they've brought more to us.
For many of the deaf community, the fear of fitting in lingers. But for Christoph, Kimberly, and Damani, dancing is passion-driven and determination-ruled.
Well, I hope that what we've done here at the Endemani College in terms of opening our doors to 3 deaf students will encourage others and inspire them to go after their dreams.
So I remember in high school, there was a quote that says, "I believe I can achieve." I go by that. So in the Bible, it talks about, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I believe I can achieve.
And that's all we have for you today on Jamaica Magazine, but be sure to join us tomorrow around about the same time for more information you can use. You may also join us online. There's our website, our YouTube channel, our pages on all the major social media platforms, and we also have a mobile app that's compatible with Android and iOS systems. Until then, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Walk good.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service. the voice of Jamaica.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Business Access TV is here at the 14th Regional Investment and Capital Markets Conference and the launch of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. This year's conference is governed under the theme, Expanding Our Borders, Securing Our Investment. I'm Javon Keys, and I'll be bringing you the happenings of this year's conference.
Someone once said that all that glitters is not gold. Well, the JSC has proven them wrong. Just look around and you'll see the glitter. And of course, the last time I checked, 50 years is a golden anniversary. Yes? So, there. Need I say more? Now, we have a great evening lined up for you, so I'd like to invite you at this time to just make yourselves at home. Relax. And as you're doing that, I'm going to now make way for the opening remarks and welcome. And to do that, we invite the Managing Director of the Jamaica Stock Exchange to join us on stage. Please welcome Mrs. Marlene Street Forrest.
Welcome to the JC's Regional Conference on Investments and the Capital Markets. This year is particularly special for us because, as you know, we stand on the threshold of our 50 years anniversary celebration. And you can clap for that. Its longevity stands as testament to its founding fathers, including the Honorable Alfred Rattray, Mr. Esau Edward Gale, Mr. Raglan Solomon Golding, Mr. William Sams, and former Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Edward Seago, who at the time was Jamaica's Minister of Finance. We are pleased and honored to once again host this premier regional investment event in collaboration with our international and local lead sponsors, Jefferies, NCB Group, along with other sponsors, all of whom have continued to consistently support us. Every year when we call on them, they say yes, because it's a good conference. Our conference is now in its 14th year, and it has become a staple on the menu of financial events for all our stakeholders. To our sponsors, investors, and those who make the annual trek to this event, we feel honored that through your support, we have been able to assist with the growth and development of the capital markets. This year's theme focuses on expanding our borders while securing our future. It recognizes that regionally, we're a part of an evolving global market, which is rapidly changing to such an extent that we hardly recognize it. However, it is imperative that we embrace it if we are to achieve real economic growth and prosperity. We know that as a region, we are small, given our combined population compared to the larger, more developed markets. But the size of a population should not matter in the context of globalization, where equality can be driven by technology, which has itself altered what was considered normal. A normal where capital flows to market considered to be developed. But now with technology, normal can mean that capital flows to our markets. What if our region were to be seized of the fact that capital can and will flow into our markets if we reposition ourselves and beckon investors globally to a region where capital sustainability is practiced and where there is a balance between financial and social returns, which itself accelerate growth. And it is to this end that we are going to be launching the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, because we feel that capital will come to our market whilst we promulgate the social. This concept of social impact investing having a place beside our financial investing, while fairly new, when practiced, shows positive correlation between capital efficiency and social advancement. Social inequality matters economically, as countries with greater levels of inequality are more economically fragile. This means the capital market and players within it who can merge technology, products, and services, innovating a symbiotic relationship between capital and social, will ensure that our regional economies achieve exponential growth. It is within this context that the Jamaica Stock Exchange will launch the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange this evening, as we believe that we must play a role in this value chain. Further, as a member of the UN Sustainable Stock Exchanges, we are charged with a mission to assist in achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals. This social stock exchange intends to link social and financial capital by facilitating a platform and an inclusive framework for social returns through donations and social and financial returns through social impact investing. Again, welcome and enjoy the rest of the evening's proceedings.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange wishes to help to develop the social sector. To that end, they have formed the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, which is a safe, efficient, and transparent platform that aims to promote social projects that build Jamaica and will inure to the benefit of all persons living in the country.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange is a company that encourages and mobilizes capital for the main market. And that is the market that is not the social sector. Now, the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange is really geared towards the social sector to help to solve social problems in the field of health, education, about children, environment. Those are some of the things that we consider social problems. And so it is to mobilize the capital, allow persons who have a desire to invest in a social good, to invest in the social stock exchange. It is designed in two parts. In phase one, where we look at social investment, and phase two, where we look at social impact investment. Now, in phase one, really what we are saying is it is donation. An organization will have a social issue and design it into a project or a program and invite Jamaicans or persons within the diaspora or the entire world to fund this program. Now in phase two, you're going to get a return on investment which is not social. You will be getting shares, natural shares, as you would get if you invested in the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And what you'll get is a return on capital, which is possibly dividend or an appreciation in that share. The Jamaica Social Stock Exchange does more than ask for the funding of these programs, but goes beyond that in terms of monitoring, ensuring that these programs are meeting the targets and the reason for them to have asked for funding in the first place. When we look at this new sector, it is important because holistically, if you do not look on the social sector, you do not improve the other sectors. We want to encourage all businesses in Jamaica to have a corporate social responsibility because it is good for encouraging and the growth and development of businesses.
Stay with us. More happenings from the 14th Regional Capital Market and Investment Conference and the launch of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. We'll be right back.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life. Delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're tuned into BATV's coverage of the 14th Regional Investment and Capital Market Conference and the launch of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. Let's head to the stage where we'll have the chairman's address.
Effective diversification follows a key principle that risk is inversely related to the number of differentiated types of assets that make up the product. To really have a well-diversified product means to add strength or a backbone to the product by giving it sufficient variety and optimal mix which can withstand the conditions posed by those risks we can and those we cannot control. A good way to look at your product, and by extension your organization, is to see it as a sum of parts. Is each component so unique that it achieves a different purpose, or are all components doing the same thing? Your product becomes a solution once you have achieved the sum of all parts. But at the heart of diversification too is financial inclusion. Making financial products and services and information available to all individuals, irrespective of their net worth, has to guide the way we craft our products and services. FinTech has quickly become an integral tool in facilitating financial inclusion, especially among today's customers who want high quality, low cost, and convenient alternatives, and whose lives are centered on technology. The growth we need to achieve within the region will not come by offering financial opportunities only to the wealthy. Economic growth is fueled when everyone has a chance to participate. When carefully diversifying a product, service, or portfolio, the word risk is unavoidably present. While risk means different things to different people, the common question, whether you are the financial service provider choosing assets to create a product or the consumer of the product, should always be, is it really worth the effort? We ask this question because in search of growth, there is always a temptation to search for growth. Because in search of growth, there is always a temptation to reach for the alternative with the highest returns, even when we know better. Bigger is better, we are sometimes told. However, real growth always carries a large element of sustainability and longevity that most times will not be achieved by chasing only supernormal returns. And we can all recall the Ponzi schemes, but I'll leave that for another session. Effective diversification of product offerings or revenue streams is therefore the only way to ensure sustainable, prosperity. Whether in the household, the firm, or the economy. Economic conditions are favorable. Interest rates are at all-time lows. Technology and the access to it has seen exponential growth. There is no better time than the present to reimagine the way we see growth or reshape our thinking to capabilities on these advancements. to capitalize on these advancements. The financial services industry in Jamaica has come a long way, and I must use this opportunity to commend industry players who have taken the strategic decision to become disruptors in the industry. You have all done very well in achieving a good balance between technology and the needs of today's customers. And many of you have realized we do not have to look very far to see a shining example of product and service diversification than the Jamaica Stock Exchange. A few years ago, and few enough for me to remember at this age, the stock exchange was almost solely dependent on market activity revenue. A significant step was made in making decisions to diversify their financial service offerings, and the Jamaica Stock Exchange Group today is the largest offering of trust services in the country. It is a significant improvement, and apart from being number one for equity transaction, the stock exchange has transformed itself into an extremely profitable company through this diversification. What is the key takeaway, ladies and gentlemen? Globally, financial markets continue to undergo significant change on a daily basis. The improvements in and growing access to technology continues to make investing today significantly different from what it was even a year ago, and the region is no exception. Additionally, developing countries such as Jamaica and others within the region have become more attractive investment targets as they keep up with this growing pace. It now seems the norm for Jamaica's investing environment to make the international news, with our stock market beating returns everywhere else in the world, and more recently, the Bank of Jamaica's BFIT inflation target campaign. This confidence can help serve as a significant push in expanding our reach around the world. With this change comes a greater need for diversification, which will encourage the creative thinking and innovation needed to spur growth.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back to the 14th Regional Investment and Capital Market Conference and the launch of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. Let's head back to the stage.
It's a pleasure to be here in the capacities of CEO of NCB Capital Markets and President of the Local Securities Lobby Group, the Jamaica Securities Dealers Association, JSDA. NCB Capital Markets is proud for our third consecutive year to be the lead local sponsor of the annual JSE conference. The conference is a staple in the capital markets calendar, not just locally, but regionally. And our continued association with this event tangibly demonstrates our commitment to the growth of the regional markets. The role of the capital markets and the importance of its various players in facilitating GDP growth is generally not understood, or at best not fully appreciated. The starting point for any business enterprise is capital, or risk capital for emphasis. For a developing country, access to bank financing is relatively good, but to access it, you need risk capital, a type of funding that falls outside the mandate of a commercial bank. Capital in the form of equity or some form of subordinated debt is a key ingredient in credit expansion. As such, the capital markets provides a bridge for those that are in need and those that have risk capital to invest. The capital market also provides infrastructure development capital that has strong socio-economic benefits through construction of roads, water and sewer systems, housing, energy, telecommunications, public transport, etc. Moreover, the capital markets promotes private-public sector partnerships to encourage participation of the private sector in productive investments. The need to shift economic development from the public to the private sector to enhance economic productivity has become inevitable as regional governments continue to be financially constrained. In Jamaica, the size of the non-banking financial system, which are active participants in the capital markets, stood at approximately 1.7 trillion Jamaican dollars, exceeding that of the banking system. Therefore, if you agree with the points made earlier, then the data suggests that the opportunity for capital markets-driven growth is tremendous, especially at a time when the government is net repayer of debt. Ladies and gentlemen, if we are to achieve the elusive 4 to 5% GDP growth, a well-functioning capital markets is necessary. I must take this opportunity to commend the government on the work it has done during the last calendar year in facilitating the deepening of the capital markets. As a regulator, the interactions with the Financial Services Commission, FSC, continues to improve. In addition, directionally, we have seen a greater openness on the part of the central bank as it relates to the importance of the capital markets. I must commend the Minister of Finance, the Honorable Nigel Clarke, for his leadership in the whole process. Last year, the government retained the services of Jamaican-born David Marston, who is a former senior advisor, deputy director, and chief risk officer of the International Monetary Fund, IMF. His mandate is to work along with the central bank and various authorities in recommending changes to the regulatory framework that will allow for the deepening of the capital markets in an effort to accelerate economic expansion. I find Mr. Marston's approach to be consultative and practical in nature and look forward to the implementation of a number of initiatives discussed. Areas such as allowable assets for institutional investors, the liquidity and price discovery mechanisms for sovereign and corporate debt, initiatives to encourage more public debt listings, and the creation of a ratings culture are critical as we aim to deepen the markets. We also commend the administration on the initiative to strengthen the institutional framework of the Bank of Jamaica via an amendment to the BOJ Act. The GSDA's primary ask in this regard is that there is representation from the non-bank financial sector in any body responsible for developing and implementing policies impacting the financial system. While we believe that directionally we are on a good path, some constraints exist that we must address if we are to fully benefit from the work being done. And I'll speak to two, and I'm glad that the Prime Minister is here. The first one has to do with the limitation placed on fund managers and securities dealers in acquiring foreign currency denominated debt securities issued by local companies, as well as a restriction on the same local companies and securities dealers to issue foreign currency debt securities. This goes counter to the notion of having a liberalized foreign currency market and is anti-competitive. We understand the concern regarding the potential impact of the capital markets on the foreign currency market. However, I want to make a few points. Given Jamaica's experience with foreign currency movement over the decades, making a significant dent on the level of dollarization in the financial system may very well take a generation. As such, for the foreseeable future, there will always be a pool of existing USD liquidity for corporates to tap into without investors having to convert from local currency to hard currency. There are companies that are natural borrowers of USD, such as BPOs and hotels, to name a few. And this is supported by banking data that shows 26% of loans are hard currency denominated. And if you were to look into the corporate space, that percentage is much higher. There are instances where a bank loan may not be the best fit. As such, these companies must tap into the capital markets. The problem occurs, however, when these companies are forced to borrow in local currency, then convert to US dollars instead of tapping into the existing pool of hard currency liquidity. This essentially creates currency pressures, the same pressure or the same problem that the authorities are trying to avoid. Secondly, Given the improved outlook for the economy and the attention that Jamaica has been received internationally, it is very likely that sizable foreign currency denominated capital market transactions will attract international investors, bringing in more hard currency into the country. Thirdly, high net worth individuals that really want hard currency exposure will just simply move their funds overseas if there's a scarcity of quality local USD assets to invest in, creating a bigger problem, that of capital flight. We understand that the capital markets could cause occasional volatility in the foreign currency market. We, however, believe that the concern is overstated and that the residual risk is manageable. Our recommendation is to set a discrete time frame for relaxation of these restrictions. An appropriate time frame will allow stakeholders to plan to mitigate any resulting risk while fully capitalizing on the opportunities that will arise. The second matter that I want to discuss is that of tax inequality. As it is, regulated financial entities, with the exception of life insurance companies, are subject to a corporate income tax rate of 33 1/3%, compared to other companies taxed at 25%. Additionally, there is a tax on assets of 0.25%, which for income tax purposes is not a tax-deductible expense. As a matter of fact, a few years ago, when this tax rate was increased, some of our members had an effective tax rate of 60%. The inequality in the taxation, with asset tax in particular, came about at a time when the government of Jamaica embarked on programs to improve its fiscal situation. While the securities industry strongly opposed this implementation, one could see the government's reason for targeting the financial sector, given its transparent governance framework and a high compliance rate for the sector. Fast forward 6 years, the GOJ's fiscal situation has improved, and now the country has moved from a fiscal deficit of 3.9% of GDP to a surplus of 0.1%, and from a debt to GDP of 132.5% to close to 100% of GDP. As an industry, we are proud to have played our part, as painful as it may have been. However, now that the country is on the right track, we believe it is now time to revisit this regime. Now is the time to remove the current asset tax and bring the corporate tax rate of financial institutions in line with non-financial companies. A few points to note. The asset tax is essentially a tax on capital and limits a securities dealer's ability to execute on its market-making mandate, which is a critical function in the market's ecosystem. Further, this tax on capital is in addition to the slew of capital charges already implemented under the IMF program. Secondly, there is no other country in our region with this level of tax differentiation. And Prime Minister Motley will tell you that in Barbados, which has a more flexible regulatory regime and has just embarked on our IMF program, has adjusted its income tax rate in line with that of international business companies. We know IBCs are closer to 0%. The circumstances, of course, are different, right? However, the point I want to make is that capital will go where it is most welcomed, and we need to ensure that the environment in which our market makers operate is conducive to the execution of their mandate.
Do you want more experience from your SUV? Introducing the 2020 Nissan X-Trail with leading-edge technology, intelligent ride and chassis control, a round view monitor, and hill start assist for confidence behind the wheel, plus auto headlights and panoramic sunroof. Drive the SUV with more experience. The Nissan X-Trail, available today at Fidelity Motors.
Before I close, it would be remiss of me not to take this opportunity to mention our NCB Capital Markets-led initiatives geared towards deepening the capital markets. Over the past 2 years, financial years, we have been involved in over $1.7 billion worth of capital markets and structured products transactions across the region. Last year, we would have been involved in close to half of the entire Jamaican dollar denominated private placements in terms of value executed, and would have executed under the FXCs, would have also executed a similar percentage in value of equities traded on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. This year, we'll be focusing more on smaller business and market innovation. And the chairman spoke earlier about technology and being disruptive. In tandem with our commercial banking arm, there will be greater emphasis on capacity building for SMEs that have junior market listing potential. To kickstart this collaborative effort, we will waive or arrange fees for all junior market mandates signed with us between now and September 30 of this calendar year. So starting tonight, ladies and gentlemen, junior market IPOs arranged by us will be done free of broker fees. This demonstrates the NCB's financial group's commitment to our SMEs, as well as the further development of the equities markets and its potential impact on nation building. The second initiative involves digitizing the IPO process. 13 months ago, NCB Capital Markets had the distinction of executing the largest IPO in Jamaica's history. This IPO was done for Wisynco Limited, and we saw us processing over 8,000 applications, the most by far under the stock exchange dematerialized framework. The processing of these subscriptions was an administrative headache for both the NCB and the Jamaica Stock Exchange. As a result, the NCB team challenged itself to create a digital tool that could process an IPO that is 10 times that of Wisynco's in terms of applications in less than 1/10 of the time. Today, I can share with you that by the end of this calendar quarter, we'll have a paperless, end-to-end automated IPO solution plugged directly into the Jamaica Central Securities Depository. So imagine this: participating in an IPO online, whether from your home or at our location, that closes today, Tuesday, with 80,000 or more subscriptions, being able to know your allocation tomorrow, and with your refunds being remitted to you by Thursday of this week, a 2-day turnaround time. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a creation of an Amazon-like experience for investors, very fitting for the home of the world's best performing stock market. I want to take this opportunity to thank Mrs. Street Forest and Ms. Kelly and the JCSD team for helping us to make this dream a reality. In closing, the players in the capital markets stand ready and able to play their role. The evolution of our local capital markets over the years is a testament to that. I encourage the authorities to play a part in facilitating the market and its players so that we can collectively work together to move this economy away from incremental growth to growth that is transformational. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the continued interest in the JSC conference and by extension the development of the regional capital markets.
On behalf of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, as well as my colleagues at Jefferies, I'd like to extend another heartfelt welcome to this year's special conference, 50 Years of Excellence. What an accomplishment for Jamaica Stock Exchange, as well as for the country itself. It is with great pride that during this golden celebration, I'm able to partake in this tremendous milestone. Yes, this will be our 14th year as lead sponsor, but in truth, my association with the Jamaica Stock Exchange actually began in 1998. So I feel especially honored to be asked to partake in this year's event. And Marlene, thank you very much. It is always our pleasure to begin the new year at this conference, and this year especially, to mark this great occasion. Jefferies is a global investment banking firm with offices in over 30 cities worldwide and nearly 4,000 employees. Jefferies provides capital markets, financial advisory services, institutional brokerage, wealth management across the global spectrum. Prime Minister, according to the IMF, Jamaica debt is expected to be below 100% of GDP for the first time in over 18 years. You and your administration should be commended. Here in my second home of Jamaica, unemployment is at an all-time low of 8.4%, as well as economic growth forecasted at 1.5 to 2% for this fiscal year. With inflation now targeted between the 4 to 6% level, Jamaica is indeed on solid upward trajectory, and congrats must accompany these facts. My father always told me something. He said, when lessons have been learned, good things usually follow. And I think all the austerity that this country has gone through, those lessons have indeed been learned. 2018 was a year which Jamaica continued to integrate itself with international bond investors. As I highlighted on the stage last year, in 2017, Jamaica bonds significantly outperformed the MB Global benchmark of sovereign debt. In a year, the index was up sharply. That was nice. But here's something even better. In 2018, and this is very important, Jamaica outperformed the benchmark in a year where the benchmark was down sharply. The MB was down 4.6% in the last year, and the Jamaica sub-index was basically flat. I cannot stress enough how valuable that is to the global investment community. That has gotten the attention just like your stock market has. I mean, to have assets to go up when the market is strong is great. But when assets don't go down as sharply, when the rest of the index falls, it's fantastic. In other words, any investor who is overweighted in Jamaica actually generated positive alpha over the last 2 years. And that's a very important thing for the institutional world. Jamaica sovereign bonds had yet another milestone in 2018. By late in the year, they were trading roughly flat in terms of spreads to the likes of Trinidad. That is a staggering development for those of us that have been following the region for decades. Trinidad has historically traded at spreads that were hundreds of basis points tight to Jamaica. My point is this: Jamaica's credit has continued to improve. And why these rating agencies have failed to take proper notice of this is quite shocking to me, to put it mildly. I've actually been very vocal about that. I mean, there are only a handful of credits out there in all the sovereign world where there's actually reduction of GDP levels as we are speaking. So what can I say about 2019? Well, emerging market spreads are trading at their elevated levels to recent history, but with the ongoing weakening of the US dollar, I view these levels as very attractive. As for Jamaica, with 10-year spreads around 300 basis points and thus trading in line with BB rated countries, a continuation of recent local positive trends in Jamaica, fundamental continues to be priced accordingly. At least all three of the major rating agencies have indicated a decent chance for an upgrade in 2019, and all I can say is finally. The global markets will be watching for more of the same from Jamaica, namely ongoing fiscal performance, signs of economic growth, signs of private sector credit growth, and the public sector retreats from its dominance of capital markets, and the country's ability to finally stand tall on its own 2 feet of years past austerity. I think it's time that I'm going to end it right there because the next speaker is far more important than myself. I want to thank again Marlene and the entire Jamaica Stock Exchange crew for letting Jeffrey share in his 50th year celebration. I look forward to seeing all of you over the next few days of the conference. And Marlene, I only hope that you ask me back for next year, but not with more money like you keep doing. Thank you very much.
Please stay with us. When we come back, we'll have the keynote address here at the 14th Regional Investment and Capital Markets Conference and the launch of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange.
Design is not only how things look, but also how well they work. With GLC, more than meets the eye.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And, you know, I am no stranger to this conference. I've done this maybe 6 times, 3 times as Prime Minister. And I've always tried to associate myself with the Jamaica Stock Exchange. It is indeed one of the great success stories of Jamaica, an institution which is now 50 years. Congratulations. The theme is one that I'm particularly interested in. When I read it first, I thought you were talking about national security, expanding our borders and securing our future. But the focus obviously is on transforming the regional economies, achieving robust economic growth. And I see why you have invited Prime Minister Mottley, because she has to go through that very difficult task of transforming a regional economy. Jamaica is still going through that task. I hear the conversation shifting as if we have, or we are coming out of that very difficult period. Let me hastily remind everyone, Jamaica is still in a very precarious position. We have done very well, but we are not out of the woods. The theme is also important because CARICOM, our regional body, has had new life. I did my part, my chairmanship has ended, and Mia has come in with a burst of energy, and we have managed to do more than we have done in the last decade, in the last 2 years. Great changes have happened in CARICOM. The JSE continues to be one of the best performing exchanges in the world. This performance reflects the buoyancy and growing confidence in the Jamaican economy. The Jamaica Stock Exchange continues to send the signal that our investment community has the appetite, but more importantly, it has the cash to invest. So I'm particularly happy when Jamaica is recognized for its business enterprise, its stock market, its central bank. That kind of publicity is absolutely important, and not just portraying our country as a vacation destination, but also a place where serious business is taking place. News about our performance, it's not just superficial. Profound changes are happening in our economy. We have robust NIR, the highest has been in decades. We have low inflation rate. Now, I should point out that 2015 and 2018 were not the only times that the Jamaica Stock Exchange was number 1 in the world. We were number 1 in the world in the 1990s, somewhere about 1993. Don't quote me on that, but somewhere thereabouts. And of course, that was just before an incredible period of hyperinflation in our economy. So we were the fastest growing stock market in that period of time, but not with the same economic conditions as we have now. Now we have genuinely strong economic conditions, such as I had mentioned before, robust net international reserves. But we have low inflation rates, exceptionally low inflation rates compared to the rest of the region, to the point where our target is 4 to 6%. And of course, you would have heard that we've missed the target. We got somewhere in about 2.4%. And the population is puzzled. Why is that a matter of concern? We should be celebrating that we have exceptionally low inflation. That's my view as well.
But the economists will tell you that that is also a signal about aggregate demand and growth, the potential for growth in the economy. And so good economic management calls for the targeting of the inflation that you would like to achieve relative to the growth that you would like to achieve. We have a flexible exchange rate, genuinely classified, flexible exchange rate. Many persons are nervous about flexible exchange rates, but it's best for the economy. The rates are going up, they come down, they go up, they come down. That is just how a normally functioning market works. But what I really like is our public debt is consistently trending downwards. Gregory mentioned that we will be below 100% debt to GDP ratio by March when we announce the budget this year. You know, for those of you who may have forgotten, we are coming from the perilous levels of 141% of GDP, when the country was literally on the brink of bankruptcy, to know where we are. Of course, you know, I take no special credit. It is all of our sacrifice that have achieved this. And I would be giving myself a round of applause, giving yourselves a round of applause. We have interest rates, policy rates, which are extremely low, historic lows actually, and probably will get lower. So now is the time to make investments. But we also have record levels of high employment. I mean, the highest employment ever in the history of the employment statistic in Jamaica. And you would have heard the good news recently announced of further increases in employment, particularly as it relates to female unemployment. So generally, the country is doing well. There's no question about the economic performance of the country. To the point where we can hear special requests being made regarding changing the structure of taxes. And again, Stephen, I hear you. My view is that with all this success, we should be very cautious. We shouldn't be afraid to change, but we must calculate the risk of change and make changes cautiously, because it just takes one erratic move to create disruption in the negative sense of the term, because disruption is now a good word in thinking. So, Stephen, I hear you very, very well, and I listen to you very keenly. And it is a call that is being made generally. And there is, in my opinion, great merit to the call, because that could spur the economy even more. But we're here talking about the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And we're here talking about how well we have done, particularly at the macro level. But in the back of your minds, I'm sure you're wondering, then why is it that we're still not cracking that 2% ceiling for growth? What are the issues that are really holding us back? My thesis on it is that we need to do much more work at the microeconomic level. We've done well at the macroeconomic level, but we now need to pay attention to the level of operations such that we pay attention to the operations of the firm and the regulatory environment in which the firm operates and the distortions that sends the wrong signals to the firms. So government policy has to evolve to have greater emphasis on things like public sector reform, which we have talked about for a long time. It's very difficult to do. It's a political minefield, but it has to be done. We have to talk about things like improving the approval process and the general business processes of government. Business process re-engineering for government is absolutely important in order to create that regulatory environment in which firms can have regulatory certainty and can make decisions, not just basing decisions on the interest rates, inflation rate, etc., but what are the regulators going to do? How quickly can we get through the dense bureaucracy of government? And then we have to pay attention to how do we integrate technology into our operations, particularly within government operations, to support the activities of the firm. But another strategy at the microeconomic level which we have to pay close attention to, and which government has, is how do we create an ownership economy? That's one. But more so, how do we get the full utilization of all the assets of government? The government has a tremendous amount of assets. A large percentage of them, the value is not realized. The value is just sitting down there, not realized. And you see them. We have land not being used. We have factories and buildings not being used. But we have value in companies that the public isn't seeing the value in them. Because in the mind of the public, these companies can't be traded.
Do you want more experience from your SUV? Introducing the 2020 Nissan X-Trail with leading-edge technology, intelligent ride and chassis control, a round view monitor, and hill start assist for confidence behind the wheel, plus auto headlights and panoramic sunroof. Drive the SUV with more experience. The Nissan X-Trail, available today at Fidelity Motors.
I'm Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world, and you're watching Business Access.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange is about to launch its social enterprise listings. So what is this now? The stock market, which is a private enterprise, getting into social enterprise, getting into public goods. There's no reason why markets cannot be used to address social goods, public goods. There's no reason. And they do very well if properly regulated. One of the reasons why shareholders do better than voters in ensuring accountability and ensuring innovation is that shareholders have more information. And what the stock market does is, one, it ensures that the enterprise meets certain standards of accountability, both fiduciary and governance, and it ensures that there is a market for information by law, and it connects interests. So the shareholders' interest is to ensure that they hold directors to account, and directors' interest is to make sure that they meet the shareholder requirement and they maximize whatever it is that is the objective. So with the social, the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, those entities which will be listed would go through a rigorous process, a vetting process of ensuring that, for example, they have good institutional structures to ensure that the project themselves are feasible and make sense. And that gives a greater level of knowledge, of information, and assurance to persons who would want to invest. Because the error in people's mind is that people are only investing to make profits. There are persons who are investing to maximize other objectives. One objective could be social good. The truth is that we all do that from time to time. We give to a cause, whether it is we give in kind, we give our labor, we give our time, we give what we can. But some people give significant resources to things that they believe are important, that helps to, for example, create a memory for their name, for example. So on the social stock market, I would give, obviously, if I'm convinced that the objective, the social objective, is a good one, that my giving would not be in vain, that there is accountability for the resources that I'm giving. And that would take away a lot of the cost of giving. Because then if you're giving large sums of money, you want to know that the objective to which you're giving, that the persons who have received the funds are using it for the cause. Having a stock market in place where the companies are listed, there is a process, a very rigorous process, that gives you a certain level of insurance. So I'm certain that the Agency for Inner City Renewal, EAR, Alpha School of Music, Choose Life International, Def Can Coffee, and Praise Jamaica. These are the 5 companies with which you could describe them as social enterprises that have been vetted by the Jamaica Stock Exchange, approved to be listed, that these companies are good entities for which to put your giving, your philanthropic giving to. And I would encourage, I endorse this, and I encourage all Jamaicans to participate by giving to these companies. So I want to, again, congratulate the Jamaica Stock Exchange for this new innovation. I know it will be successful. I'm endorsing it, and I'm asking Jamaicans to participate. So it gives me great honor, in closing my presentation, to ask the representatives of these companies. Representatives are here, yes? Please, if you would join me on stage. Marlene. Of course, Professor Neville Ying is the chairman of the board of the new Social Capital Exchange. And these are representatives of the various companies that have been approved. And so it gives me a great pleasure, and it is a distinct honor to officially launch the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. So, ladies and gentlemen, in closing, I want to thank you for being a very good audience, and again, congratulations to the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
We've just wrapped things up here on the first day of the 14th Regional Investment and Capital Markets Conference and the launch of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. I've been your host, Javon Keys, and you're tuned into Business Access TV, serious about business.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Does Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs ring a bell? What about Toy Story or The Flintstones? These works marked important milestones in animation, an art form that continuously challenges its creators to push technology so that anything that can be imagined can also be brought to life. Animation is the liveliest form of media. It has survived the emotionless persistence of vision toys popular in the 19th century and has found expression as an art form in cinema. Today, animation has become an essential ingredient in multimedia content, computer games, and a number of other industries. It's timeless, nimble, and future-proof, and is currently very hot. So this week, we explore the animation industry in Jamaica on Career Moves.
My name is David Suter. I'm a lecturer here at CARIMAC. I coordinate the digital media production program as well as the new animation program. Animation can mean many things. I mean, it can be anything from cartoons that you watch on Saturday mornings to animated movies that you go to Carib and watch, to the graphics that you see probably in front of this program on the nightly news. Animation, it's moving image, and it complements film and other genres of time-based media.
Just under 3 years ago, CARIMAC participated and helped to organize an event called Kingston, which was being pulled together by the World Bank, Government of Jamaica, and the university. That brought together a whole range of people interested in animation, of which CARIMAC was a leading part, because CARIMAC always wanted to launch an animation program of some sort. This provided us with the platform and the opportunity with the links and connections. So we made a number of important links and connections, including those people who provided the software, those other universities and colleges that had a program going, as well as some of the studios that were doing animation in Jamaica already and around the world. Against that background, CARIMAC quickly co-hosted with the World Bank the first workshop that came out of the Kingston conference. And that set the stage for us to launch something called Animate Jamaica, which is a certificate program drawing on all young people in Jamaica who had drawing skills, who wanted to make a cartoon, who were interested in animation, motion graphics, any of those things. And we decided that since this was a very important part of the cinematic arts, we would offer this on a 6-month training basis, and that we would invite as many students as possible who had the interest and the inclination. We had an overwhelming response, and that first Animate Jamaica course certificate was a tremendous success. We trained something in the region of 45 students between the Mona campus version and the Western Jamaica University version. Since then, we have trained something like almost 100 students when all taken together in various lengths of programs in 2D animation. And so far, it has proven to be a tremendous success at the certificate level. We then decided that it was very important to make our contribution to the establishment of an animation industry in Jamaica by launching a first degree. We decided that it would be a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, and we went about immediately preparing the courses in consultation with industry players and our international partners. And we were able to get the courses approved and the program sanctioned by the University of Jamaica. So we now have a program, a bachelor's degree program, available to be launched here at the University of the West Indies in September 2015. We are currently doing the necessary preparation for that. We have an animation lab. We are making arrangements for the necessary software. We have a tremendous core of Jamaicans who have done work in animation, in motion graphics, and we are drawing on the skill sets of the existing studios to provide the teaching team, in addition to engaging and employing international partners to help with the delivery of the curriculum. We have put the call for student applications out. We have got a tremendous response. Scores and scores of students want to enter this program.
My goal as a lecturer is to make sure that students or graduates of this program are prepared for a very dynamic industry. The animation industry in Jamaica here it's new, it's in its nascent stage. And we want to make sure that they're prepared and have options. And it's not just 2D animation. They have the options to go and work for TVJ or CVM, to be able to make video games, to start a studio on their own, to even look overseas or to prepare them for a master's. The 2D animation industry here is growing at a very rapid rate with small studios starting up. There's a lot of interest from the World Bank and other multilaterals. But the field of animation is quite large, and there are lots of possibilities, both locally and overseas.
I remember watching Jurassic Park back in 1993. Jurassic Park was the first time I saw dinosaurs, and I believed they were real. And I remembered, being younger, I was like, that's amazing, and I wanted to be able to create that magic myself. I was like, that's what I want to do.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
I will enter into the field of animation as a career. Reason being, it gives you a brighter insight to different characters in which you can play, in the sense that you can see yourself in a different way.
No, because I'm on the Broadcasting Commission for cut out most of them movies where we see we do them one bag of slackness.
I would consider a career in animation. I think it's something nice, new, and worth exploring in the Jamaica society. Yeah, I think I'd be willing to. Are you guys offering free courses or something?
No. No, because I'm not really so fascinated with them thing there for, whatever reasons. It doesn't appeal to me, really. You know, so I'm like, watch them, but...
Yes, I would choose a career in animation. Why? Because it's interesting and appealing to the generation of teenagers now, and they would watch it. So you could put like some educational stuff like art like that in it.
Yeah, it's an innovative field of area and such, so it is prominent, promising as well.
Animation one time used to be like fictitious. You could have think, what is going to happen next, and that now go on again, a straight gunshot. And some of the gun them I see in a movie, it look real, not look like an animation thing. It look real. You get me? So no, we not consider that as a career choice either.
Hi, my name is Coretta Singer. I'm a 3D generalist/animator. I'm also the chairperson for JAN, the Jamaica Animation Nation Network, which is Jamaica's animation association. JAN has been around for maybe like about 2 or 3 years now. So we've been active since before then. It started off as a group on Facebook, basically, that I started, and just to get animators in Jamaica in the same spot. But then we started realizing when people got interested, when the government and other institutions started getting interested in animation, we said, you know what, let's get together, let's lobby not just for animation, but for animators as well, so they have a voice to be able to say, hey, they want things to go this way or that way, and they're able to give better feedback based on their experience. For the most part, it's good that they have a voice, they get together, they discuss, we post things sometimes about maybe the local animation industry and how it has been going thus far and internationally. And they will give their feedback, and it's good to have that area for discussion. Animation has so many different facets to it. It's hard to nail down exactly just 1 or 2 things. You have drawing, you've got coloring. For 3D animation especially, I can speak more to that because that's what I do. You've got modeling, you've got your rigging, you've got your texturing, you've got the actual animation, you've got the rendering. There's a programming aspect to it as well. Which involves coding. Sometimes when people are doing animations, say for example they're doing a dance or something, there's that aspect where sometimes they even need a dancer or somebody to come in. There's motion capture. So there's a lot of studying, and it's not just this one simple thing where people think, all right, you're gonna go and draw, but there's so much more involved. I remember watching Jurassic Park back in 1993, and before that you'd see these movies and see these rubber dinosaurs and just go, yeah, it's not real. Oh, look at the dinosaur. You can practically see the zipper in the back or whatever. But Jurassic Park was the first time I saw dinosaurs, and I believed they were real. And I remembered, being younger, I was like, that's amazing. And I wanted to be able to create that magic myself. I was like, that's what I want to do. I'm self-taught. I basically sat down behind a computer and made many mistakes before I got it right. I got access to software that people had and were like, here's this 3D software I don't really understand. Maybe you can kind of sort it out. And I'd sit down there for hours and do everything wrong, make all these mistakes, and sit down for days trying to fix things. And, something's going wrong, I don't understand. But then eventually I'd get it right. And people always ask me, well, what is the difference between doing something self-taught versus going to school? I would not discourage people from going to school, because one of the things is, if I had gone to school, I would be where I am right now, maybe 5 years ago. But sometimes if you don't have access to things and you're really that adamant and you want to learn something and that's the only way out, you will find your way around.
The entry requirements for the degree program in animation here, which is a 3-year degree, Bachelor's of Fine Arts. The entry requirements is the same for any 3-year degree here at UWI, which are 5 subjects, 2 of them being at the CAPE level. We prefer that a background in art and IT be included in the subjects, a portfolio of fine art or drawing as well. The BFA in animation is very drawing intensive as well as very technical intensive. So a strong computer literacy and comfort level in drawing is recommended. the 3-year program spans 3 genres of animation. It spans 2D animation, 3D animation, as well as motion graphics. So with 2D animation, flat hand-drawn, we'll be using this lab and computers like this to teach students how to do the more traditional animation that you see on Saturday morning cartoons. Then after that, they're introduced to the far more technically intensive 3D animation genre, which will require a strong knowledge base in human anatomy and physics and motion. And then we introduce them to motion graphics, which is essentially graphic design but in motion, things that you expect to see on broadcast. So the lower third that will probably pop up right about here. The graphics that form, that precede a TV show. A lot of the ads that you see, TV commercials that you see on television right now, use a heavy amount of motion graphics. We've been getting quite a few applications for the degree course, and we're rushing to sift through all of the applications to send out acceptance letters to students. In the previous courses we've run, it has been predominantly male, which is something the University of the West Indies is gladly welcoming. The ratio, male to female ratio on campus is an issue that we've been tackling for some time. And so we're happy to see young men being very interested in pursuing higher education. I find that individuals who are okay with delayed gratification work well in animation. If you were to do traditional Disney style animation, you're talking about 24 drawings for 1 second of animation. And so you have to be okay with waiting.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-28701 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this: no more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.
In the 2 years that we've run it, most of our graduates have ended up either auditioning or interviewing for local animation studios. A lot of them have been employed, either on an apprenticeship basis where they receive further training from the studios. Some of them are moving on now to a more full-time arrangement with these studios. As the studios get bigger, we expect that more of our graduates will be considered for employment in these studios. As the industry is still small, a recent graduate or someone who has done a certificate course or a short course will come in at the ground level. And as they then garner more experience and more skill, the salary range would be typical to any profession in the media industry at an entry level. I mean, no different from a graphic designer heading out into advertising, the advertising field. As the studios get larger, as the projects become more internationally based, I'd imagine that the compensation will rise. But keep in mind that animation is not just solely these animation studios as an employment option. You also have a lot of animators who end up being in-house animators for TV stations. I'm sure you have some of them on staff. And then you can start to look overseas. A lot of studios internationally are searching for not just 2D animators, but 3D animators and visual effects artists.
There is a market. It's kind of very small, very, very small, and it's kind of competitive because it's very small. And with animation growing as it is, there is a danger of the market becoming sort of oversaturated, being that it's so tiny right now. Right now, if you have the skill set for animation, the only thing that you can really apply it to or hope to get is commercial work. The studios are also working on doing outsourcing as well. So once they kind of ramp up that, then there will be more seats, more available jobs. But right now, most of the animators are kind of fighting for those, commercial positions, because those are the ones that should more or less pay the best, so to speak. Clearly, we're not going to get paid what our North American neighbors are going to be paid. And it's difficult because, like I said, everybody here needs to earn a living. It's at some point, you can't live in your mom's house forever. And, you get to the point where you realize, all right, I want to move on and start living. And like I said, right now, the industry has not yet caught up to the people who have a higher skill set. So, the higher skill set people are going to demand more compensation. Their work's a lot more difficult. They're giving you a much better quality product. And if they're not going to get compensated correctly, it creates this kind of, I need to seek greener pastures. It's very rewarding. Once you finish an animation, you'll be working on it for like months, maybe even years. Some of my projects have taken years to complete. And when you finally finish it and put it on screen and get that reaction from people, it's an experience. It's you expressing yourself and just being able to create this complete package, or being a part of something that goes to television, to movies or something, or even if it's far away, you just go, I was a part of that. It's really cool. I have won a couple awards with Anime Caribe in Trinidad. I've sent a lot of my animations to them, and this was pretty much before the animation industry started picking up in Jamaica. I said, the only platform for animation in the entire Caribbean was in Trinidad, basically. So I sent a couple of my animated pieces there, and I got a few awards. I think the first one was in 2006. I got one in 2007. And in 2009, I entered the Nickelodeon Animation Festival, and I did get chosen as one of 30 finalists for their film festival, and which actually got aired on Nickelodeon, so that was pretty cool. I've also worked with James Paris. He's a Los Angeles animator who's worked with Disney, worked with Digital Domain and all of these studios. And he decided, he's going to work on a short for himself, and asked me, hey, would you like to be a part of this? He actually came down when we had one showing of Anime Caribe here in Jamaica. And, since then we've kind of stayed in touch because, it's cool, an animator comes down, you can relate to this person. He's a really cool guy, really down to earth. And, he said, come along for the ride. I was like, sure, why not? I've been doing 3D printing as well, because the great thing with my skill set is because I do the 3D modeling to do my 3D animation. I can use those 3D models to basically do 3D printing. I've 3D printed jewelry. I'm actually working on a kind of robot toy prototype thing right now, and I've also done caricatures of a couple of my characters, so that is another way I can apply my skill set. I do my animated shorts. I think that's the most important thing for me. It's being able to do something where I am able to put together what I want into a nice package so I can show people, hey, this is what I'm really capable of. Don't go into animation because you think it makes money, or don't go into any field because you hear that, it's a good field to make money in. You have to really be happy with what you are doing, because you're going to be sitting down there doing it for hours on end, and you need to feel comfortable and you need to feel rewarded with all the work that you are putting into it. So it doesn't matter if you're going to become a doctor or an engineer, you have to feel good in what you are doing. So I would say really sit and look within yourself and say, if I'm going to go into animation, do I want to do this for the, most of my time, my life? And, if you really see yourself wanting to do this, yeah, go for it.
I find that individuals who are okay with delayed gratification work well in animation. To give you an idea, if you were to do traditional Disney style animation, you're talking about 24 drawings for 1 second of animation. Even if you're using a piece of animation software on a computer, you're still looking at maybe about a minute a day, a few seconds a day when you're just starting out as a novice animator. So it will be days, if not weeks, until you see a large chunk of animation produced. And so you have to be okay with waiting. We're very much interested to see what the next step in animation is. We've gotten a lot of interest in video game design. In October, as I'd said before, a conference on game design and the future of game design. And we had a workshop where we had a handful of students who had never created a video game before. And in about 3-4 hours, they were able to create the first level of their favorite video game. Simple, 2D side-scrolling, you're talking Super Mario Brothers. But to have students who had never built a video game before go from zero to a full working video game in about 4 hours was spectacular. Tertiary education is a lifelong journey. And so it can't necessarily stop just at the first degree. I'd encourage any student to consider going and seeking further studies at the master's level. And so don't necessarily feel complacent that, okay, I've completed a short course or a degree and I have enough knowledge that will last me for the rest of my life. Technology accelerates at a fantastic pace. A new version of software comes out, an entirely new discipline develops. And so I would say it's not necessarily a weakness, it's a strength. That if you're going to be in this industry, stay hungry and stay excited. Garner as much knowledge as you can on a regular basis.
The Caribbean is a rich biodiversity hotspot. It has over 11,000 plant species, and about 72 of these are found only in this region. This richness also extends to the Caribbean people. Their traditional knowledge of the region's varied natural resources has integrated nature into the economic and health sectors worldwide. It has also drawn many to research and use the region's biodiversity for medicinal, cosmetic, and pharmaceutical purposes. For example, the glaucoma medication Canasol is made from cannabis. However, Caribbean islands have fallen prey to biopiracy, where a country's resources are accessed and developed commercially, but the country gets little or no benefit from it. As the world benefits from the Caribbean's biodiversity, countries need to be compensated for their commercial use. Lawmakers need to ensure that their countries are legally prepared to give access to and benefits from commercial use of genetic resources. To ensure prior informed consent and mutually agreed terms of access established by the Nagoya Protocol, the Global Environment Facility, GEF, United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, and the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, IUCN, are jointly providing support to countries at different levels in order to advance towards functional access and benefit sharing. Under the Nagoya Protocol, countries from which natural resources are obtained for commercial developments are entitled to compensation. It also ensures indigenous knowledge from groups such as the Maroons, Rastafarians, and Amerindians can be credited and compensated if their traditional knowledge has been used for commercial purposes. Caribbean islands are putting the Nagoya Protocol in their legislative framework to safeguard their country's biodiversity and traditional knowledge. Let us all work together to protect our resources, do valuable research, and reap the benefits of sustainable bioprospecting in the region.
It goes by many names: marijuana, ganja, cannabis, or kush, just to name a few. But whatever you call it, people will immediately know what plant you speak of. The Good Life this week takes you to the Stepping High Ganja Festival in Negril.
You know that Jamaica have a very long history of ganja, long before what people actually popularized today. For example, people argue that ganja came across with Indians and came over as indentured laborers, see? So hence the word of indica and ganja from river Ganges. However, ganja has always been here, so you have to use a different kind of lens. Meaning now, if you review work by like Van Sertima, they came before Columbus. People always coming to the Caribbean long before Columbus. And Jamaica was always a central space. It was a very important navigational space today. And from pirate time, it was also a very important navigational space. That's why we have the first navigational school in Jamaica by the Caribbean Maritime Institute. Now, what's the point I'm making there? The point I'm making is because ganja was such a traded thing across the world. Across the world. And however, it became more recognizable and popular when people started to come here as enslaved persons and also as indentured laborers, because both of those persons were actually using the plant. So there's always an integration with herb and agriculture. But over time, as they start to make herb become more criminal, which means that the state started to lock up people more than the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, you know, the whole thing, it kind of shifts. You know, so you find out that while we were still planting herb, we know if we have practiced some integrated farming, not because we just know that integrated farming is what you should do. We have the integrated farming for highly herb. So I would have plant herb and I plant gungo peas or I plant okra on it, because if you look from overhead and the herb, that the gungo peas and the okra, it don't look so obvious. No, the ganja farmer is the only man in Jamaica who was practicing those things, you know. By what? Out of necessity. So as Rastafari start to use more herb, you have more fight taking place against herb. So it is a thing where the history has been whereby the formal structure is anti-herb, not because they're anti-plant, but because they're anti-mindset. But because Rastafari use a lot of herb now, and herb stimulate certain parts of your brain, and people know that your body is designed with what we call an endocannabinoid system, you know, from your head to your toe. And the parts of your body that have the most of those receptors is what your liver and your brain, especially when part of the rhinoceros and the ancient part of your brain and the central part of your brain as well, the part that deal with this feel-good, esoteric kind of vibes and things, you know what I mean? And that is what drives and supports a lot of the way Rastafari people think. Hence the concept of being airy and the concept of being of one love and being with nature and all those things. It's not the Rasta people alone. The same ancient Indian people who use herb, they don't do the same thing. The people who are Essenes, from which them say Yahusha come from, is the Jesus story. Them are herb people. So them say them anoint him head with oil. Him seventh chakra, him crown chakra, is herb them use, in that olive oil them use, is ganja oil them use. See? All these stories that people hear, ganja oil is a very important part of those processes for health and wellness and healing. So it's like it's just something where Rasta people come up with, like you have what you call a Columbus syndrome, you discover things that already exist. No. The thing is that Rastafari, we are weighing to this consciousness of this plant and uses it. And then using it also are weighing other people. It's like a unlock your chakras or your DNA, so people start to remember these things and start to use the plant and actually feel a particular way about it. One of the first functions of ganja is to build your immune system against ultraviolet rays. So it means then that ganja is one of the plants that you use to do what? Prevent most of the cancers, if not all of the cancers. So all the research has shown that ganja is good for cancer fighting its functions, such as THC. And they ask yourself, what is the leading killer of people in the world today? It's stress. Herb is a plant, THC in particular, it removes stress. It transforms energy from one negative way into a next positive. That's what it's about. It's not no new energy. You shift, you focus, and start to see things in a very different kind of way. So you don't see no problem, you know. You see, needs that are unsolved, which means that there are opportunities to solve those needs by doing what? Providing a good service. So the lens through which you see things becomes different. And unfortunately, within our own system, we have this big opportunity. But the lens through which we see it is the same old colonial lens. CBD is used to treat things that do with psychosis. That research came out of England. Yes? That's why there's a great demand for CBD herb in Europe, because the leading killer of people in Europe and America is now what? Dementia-related illnesses. Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. That's M1, CBD and not THC. You have CBN, which is to stimulate appetite. So people who have cancers and all of these other issues and eating disorders will want the CBN. But it's also good for all the olfactory senses, you know. Ears, nose, and throat. So everything you do with your lung, everything you do with your ears, everything in the nose and your throat, because it what? It opens up a thing. The plant itself, in terms of the seed, have two of the most important fatty acids for your brain, which is called linoleic and linoleic, in the 1-to-3 ratio, the exact ratio in your brain. The only other plant that comes close to that is linseed, which has now 1-to-4 ratio. Most of these problems that people have, the plant is good for it. Ask them which other plant your body is designed to use. Just ask them, which other plant your body developed a system? 50 million years ago, all beings on the earth develop an endocannabinoid system. Not man alone. Dog, puss, rat, bird, everything. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to really see what the research is saying. That's what the research is saying. It's good for everything. But you know, we don't ready to own people's brain now. Especially the people who are going to say are mad people like Rasta. Or the Rasta by say, okay, herb is the healing of the nation, or herb is this. Or Tosh sing about it as a bush doctor and say, boy, it's good for this, and lawyers smoke it. Remember too, you know? Many places people use herb, and we don't just use ganja. We use different kind of herb. And this is part of the problem, because when them started to fight ganja, technically them started to fight every kind of natural consumption of other herbs as well. So a man have a headache, I don't want no rosemary, I don't want no almond leaf, because it's herbs, and you don't know how much you're going to take and suppose it poison you, and you might take a Fensic, you know. And then give everybody the same prescription, 2 Fensic, but yes, all their structure different. So the same 2 Fensic for solve the problem for everybody. You have something in your stomach that want to clear out, you don't take no verbine and no dog blood. You can take a leave. And then them announce by the TV, some have a call him back a leave, because kill off beer people are foreign. Foolishness.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Life will be right back.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Welcome back to The Good Life, where we are exploring the benefits of ganja with Dr. Kadamawe Knife. He shares his knowledge based on extensive research on the plant and some of his opinions on Jamaica's response to the growing worldwide use of ganja.
We now learn that there's a high demand for CBD plants in the world, which is in the Euro-American world. And what we know is that we're focusing so much on that technically we start to make the part that we have the advantage in almost criminal. If you have a lot of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's in Europe, they want CBD in the herb. No, if you understand the ganja plant, CBD is naturally, it don't occur in plants in a naturally high amount, you know. But it's still an amount that can treat some of those things. What they're doing now is to take the plant into the lab to create a plant that has high levels of CBD and low levels of THC. It is the first concern that we have with those kind of herbs and things. Nonetheless, I am saying if the plant itself can produce pharmaceutical products that can treat those things, well, they can do it. However, know that they must make concurrently. But the thing that I'm not naturally having in the country, but the thing that you try to promote. Jamaica is known internationally for what? Pharmaceuticals? No. We're known internationally for being a wellness space. So, if you ask a man, tell me some Jamaican word. All of the word relate to feeling good about yourself. Some are going to say irie, you might say love. You must say all of these things. Because the country is known for wellness. And we'll see where it comes from. See, now if you listen to Ed Bartlett test, when they do the assessment of what words trigger people to come to Jamaica. Love, food, and music. And can't say ganja tree, my minister. So we're not using that opportunity, and so we have a win-win scenario where everybody can benefit, whether you are a foreign direct investor or a local person. See, at a macro or a micro level, we turn it to what we call a zero-sum game, which means that if some people are going to win, like the pharmaceutical people, it means that the people who do the things organically going to lose. And that don't make no sense.
When it's green, you squeeze the juice from it, it's the best for eye. It's kill all cataract and everything.
Now, I argue that we need to standardize and regularize. It is much, much more difficult to standardize and regularize things for the pharmaceutical industry than it is for the food industry. And SRC and the Bureau of Standards are some master industries, some master institutions that can help us to standardize these things. See? So when we hear them argue about edibles, I know edibles is this and edibles is that. It shows you how almost backward the people can be. THC is amplified by heat. So therefore, if you cook herb, it magnifies the amount of THC that's within that thing that you eat. So what does that mean? Does that mean that there's a problem in using herb in the plant, in the food? No. It means then we can get a lot more from the same herb than we actually do now. When I say shift focus, when I say broaden your focus and don't be myopic in what you're doing. Don't be a copybugger. And the bigger part of the industry is the wellness part, it's not the pharmaceutical part. That is how we talk about functional food. We're not talking about nutraceuticals alone. Because they still want to make nutraceuticals sound like it's pharmaceuticals. It's like nutraceuticals is taking the active out of a plant, whether it be ganja, ginger, whatever. Functional food is using the actives in things for consumption. Which means then, I can make, and I like to use this example, I can make a chocolate from Highgate, which is a nice brand chocolate, and infuse it with something like a CBN, which is an active in ganja plant. See? Or THC, CBN, because it stimulates appetite. So I target people who know they need to eat food but want something nice to take to eat food. People who have AIDS and cancer and anorexia. So you want to eat that chocolate because it really tastes good, but when you eat it now, that makes you want to eat other food as well. So again, you have to take a regular tablet. Or use THC with things like rosemary and almond leaf as what? Just as people buy St. John's wort to reduce stress. We use it that way there. Remove all of your stress. You can put it in anything. I can use the same starting from the ganja plant and make instance 6. and create incense. And what is the beauty about this? You can do this at all 3 levels. It's the only plant you can do it at 3 levels now. And Jamaica, you can do it at the community level in terms of branding, the parish level, as well as the national level. Because if you understand ganja in Jamaica, people argue that Sunny Hill in St. Thomas is a place that plant good herb. But a man takes a Green Hill and Orange Hill plant good herb. A man takes a Bull Savannah plant good herb. Or Lucky Valley in St. Andrew plant good herb. Or the best herb usually planted in St. Andrew in the 1980s. So wait I tell you. At different points in time, people say the best herb plant in different places in Jamaica, which means that the best herb plant in Jamaica, there's a people that think we can plant the best herb anywhere in Jamaica. Now, can you imagine the amount of branding that you can take away, that you can use across the island? You have to realize what opportunities are. I'm not fighting a pharmaceutical now, but I tell you, look at what we can do with branding. Man is the only animal that cook food and eat. Rastafari is free meditation. Every man have a right to decide their own destiny, man. The person who can tell how to live is yourself. See? So I say, I don't want no food by the fire. Some don't do it. Rastafari says life. And so we find out when you put fire upon the food, you take out some of the life out of it. So you want to get the full life by food, eat it without putting fire upon it. But you still can't tell a man how to live, you know. So I'm going to tell you, what you know, you stop eating cooked food. You still have to work, and the ganja is one of the best things to eat. So with I know, it's sativa herb I promote. 6 to 9 months, ital herb. See, I'm going to take it serious because remember, the whole of my ample design for use herb, you know. So it means that you must put the best thing inside your system. So a long time herb, the rest of the plant is the best herb to use. All these things that man them come up with, no, it's just like some of the food now. See, so a long time people usually eat free-range chicken. We take long and you put a nail in the pot and cook him. You don't want that now, you want a chicken, which is a baby chicken. We take 6 weeks and end up with arsenic and all kinds of things, give people fibroids. The same with the herb. Them don't want a 6 to 9 month herb, so them start grow some short day herb, some short breed herb. 8 weeks. Where the man have to alter the seed to increase the amount of THC. Why? Because THC is stimulated by sunlight. So the longer the exposure of the plant in the sunlight is the more THC. So if you want to get the same amount of THC in a shorter period of time, you have to do change the structure of the plant. So indica is not the area plant to use, as far as I'm concerned. If you understand plant science, plants work in a holistic way. When you start to take on separate plants, it becomes less effective. When you steam the herb now, it goes into your lung directly, which means then, when your blood is passing through that vein, that is passes through your lung and it's being oxygenated, it takes up the herb immediately. So it's the fastest way of getting herb inside your system, you know. It's not an injection, because when you get an injection, it don't go in your vein directly, you know. It goes on your skin and tries to find its way into your vein. So the most effective way of getting herb into your system quickly, and another way that is at the least amount of carbon, as far as I am concerned, is through steaming. But the argument about smoking herb can cure a problem. No man, that's just something which is just false information. THC actually builds back the wall of your lung, repair the wall of your lung. So the concern about smoking can't that you're going to get sick from smoking herb. Just that the concern you say, okay, you don't want to put no more carbon inside of your system, which you don't need to. And so I ask people if you smoke a spliff every day, see? And how much spliff a day you smoke? I'm going to say 2 spliff or 3 spliff a day. But that's 365 times 2. That's almost 700 piece of paper you smoke for the year. So you really don't need to be smoking no paper. But you know some people make hemp, Rizla. So all those things are there. No. So I say the carbon might be the concern. My other concern about smoking is that it is not economical. Because when you go to light a spliff or light a chalice, most of the herb gone in the ear and less gone inside of you. So we don't smoke no herb, we just steam the herb. See, and it's not no magic we are doing, you know. A long time people do that, man. It's like when you bake pudding and put the fire on top of it. See? So you have something that separates the fire from the herb. And when you pull it, the heat from it passes through the herb. It cools under the water and condenses. It's aromatherapy. You can use it with any plant you want. Now, that is more efficient. There's almost 0 carbon because anything that comes through is captured in the water. This is what a long time bingy man them usually do, you know. Now, when you eat herb, it goes on your digestive system and takes a longer time to start to break down, but it stays longer in your system now. Because it starts to release more slowly. That's why when people cook herb and it's in your gut for a long while, it release slowly, so you feel that kind of feeling for a much longer period of time. You know, say a man who smoke herb don't like smoke herb in a public space. Him like going down space, him have him create him own space. And naturally we know that. We don't want no cigarette smoking, we don't want no jerk pan smoking, we don't want no car smoking, and we don't want no herb smoking in no public space. Because people respond different to those things and things still, see? So, we don't want no designated smoking area either. Yeah, we don't want that. Because we have to say that, say, if you think that smoking is bad, why you designate place for them to smoke? You've been a hypocrite. Go find somewhere by yourself. Go smoke if you want. Don't create a nuisance for people and things still. You see it? In a private space, you do what you want to do.
Don't go anywhere. The Good Life will be right back. Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters. Call us at 876-618-2870 or email us at sales@batvja.com. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back to The Good Life. We wrap things up with Dr. Kadamawe Knife as he shares his concerns with the current state of the industry and gives his final thoughts on what he believes could promote and grow the industry in Jamaica and, by extension, the Caribbean.
I will argue that imported bad food and lifestyle practices kill more people in Jamaica than gunshot. Less than 3,000 people dead last year from gunshot. And in 2016, more than 15,000 people dead from diabetes alone. 15,000 people, I mean, I talk high blood pressure and heart disease yet. I mean, there's no big strategy as to how we are going to halt that. But do appreciate some years, some of the things I say, boy, drink more water and less sugar, because way. So I see them talk some things. But I say, you saw there was a big strategy to fight crime and lack of people. But there's no big strategy now to fight down the crime and now we are killing people, which is through food. Now the point we're making though is that if we start to do ganja as agriculture and use it now as a catalyst, we start getting people starting with ganja with health and wellness and agriculture that kind of way, you start to address not only economic issues but health issues as well. Because if you are plant food and plant clean food, the people must get less sick. Must. We should say, okay, our focus on building out what we have, which is the, and them disrespectful, but I call it recreational. We have the wellness part of the industry, the ganja industry. And we're going to expand it to facilitate the pharmaceutical component. So those who want to do the pharmaceuticals can do it, but we are going to focus our money and energy on the wellness component. So you're trying to take a lead in an area that you can't lead in, while neglecting the area that you already lead in. I'm telling you, any guy who come to this space will have a song right as a bonus spliff. Right as with the same cool breeze we are distributing interview with. It will be one of the best experience. So bonus spliff and then go buy food from the people might eat. I tell you, I'm going to tell him grandparents about that story. You know. Say about tell him grandparents to take a ganja tablet. That's a story. There's medication they're taking, man. Enough name out there here. Them like to categorize them as skunk and kush. We have about 20 different skunk names or 20 different kush names. What we want to grow is a particular strain of herb, which is a sativa. So you have the broad categories of sativa and indica. We are promoting sativa herb, the 6 to 9 months herb. Ital, that means you don't put anything that come from animal, it's plant alone grow it. That's how to promote it. See? Now, Jamaica should have things like them called goat shit and lamb's bread and all different kind of herbs that are sativa herb as well, thyme herb. But those were destroyed. The same thing. Some seeds still exist, so we focus on getting those seeds. Now, nowadays, You have all kind of skunk herbs. Because the license itself is prohibitive and shows that they don't really understand what they want to move. Because the licensing process is required because they're doing what? Pharmaceutical ganja. I've been doing pharmaceutical ganja because of the regulations for production. You have to get all of these things in place. So that is for one section of the economy. Now the part that we're speaking about the wellness doesn't require those things. So we'll argue. There's how we have a man with a bar who says that he might get the license at whatever. The same thing I do with the herb people who are involved in these kind of things at the community level. But I think it's important to regularize it. So I want the man within the community knows him have the best herbs I sell. I'm putting them jar and him, make it iron official. But no one like it's a hide thing at and then it's a hustling. No. Make people know it's free for you so you can do it properly, man. Because Jamaican people like to present them things properly to you. So don't make it look like it's a gym screechy thing. Give them the same kind of freedom. But say what you have to have them standard there, You can't sell the herb in a plastic bag because the herb eat up in the plastic bag, put in a glass jars. And put in a dark glass jar because it make the herb stay long and show them how to do it properly and things. Now when you check it now, $10,000 for your distribution of what? 10,000 US, not 10,000 Jamaican. The prices are not even quoted in Jamaica, they're quoted in US, so it's can't be your target. So there's a different kind of thinking surrounding that component. And that's what I'm saying with the dual space. You have to have your pharmaceutical space, you put those restrictions here. But the wellness part that relates to Jamaica, you don't put those restrictions, but you put standards and quality control. So who knows if you have an edible, we know the Bureau of Standard passes and SRC help you the formulation for you know alright, you have the right amount of things inside there. Get rather the strength now for coming through the marketing and them home economics thing, for come show them how to do the thing using the standards. Make it happen properly. Herb, like we call high altitude and long exposure to sunlight. Jamaica, over 10 hours of sunlight, we have high altitude with a volcanic space. Remember, we call it volcanic because it means we have a lot more minerals in our earth than places that are not volcanic. Because when you have volcano, we do carry precious minerals from the core come up to the surface. So it's just good earth we have now. We have enough gold and diamond in Jamaica, enough crystals because we're volcanic. It means that because we have the high altitude and long exposure, our ganja, once it is exposed to the sun, it's going to be much, much better. But across the Caribbean, while they might not be like Jamaica, but you have places that can do similar things. St. Lucia, which is mountainous. Dominica, which is mountainous. Haiti, which was mountainous, would have been good places to plant. Perfect highs of THC. Montserrat might be good to plant. Definitely good to plant herb with high THC because it's also mountainous and also have good exposure to sunlight. Barbados, Cayman, Antigua, which are flat places, might be better to actually plant herb to get seed as food or to get fiber. Now they could have plant hemp though, You know what I mean? Because them flats of them THC level not going to be too high. A place like Guyana, Belize, Suriname can look at planting the industrial plant which is hemp. So the mountainous places plant the female and the flat places plant the semi-male female and the mainland places plant the male which is a hemp. So the region itself can control the entire value chain of the industry from both male and female. The Caribbean. Well, remember that Jamaica is in the Caribbean, because Jamaica is the only real Caribbean country. We know the center of the Caribbean is a certain level of magnetism in the earth, and the herb is electrical and magnetic, it's bioelectrical and magnetic. So you can't underplay the importance of those magnetic currents that surround the earth with all those things happening and things still. So you see that I'm not going ganja alone. I mean all our food. The food levels, the taste, it's like it accentuates. And the research that after show that Jamaica have higher levels of heavy metal in them earth though, which was a concern. But we realized that when you put in the water, the heavy metal dissipates. This is not a problem anymore. So remember, this is a good life now. It's important for people know that you only have one life to live. See? So you have to live healthy. Do things that you know is right. Be serious about it, man. Live well and live the good life, you know?
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.